Okay. Okay, we should be live. We should be live. Just get everything set up here. Get myself a nice little drink while we wait for a few people to catch on. And as always, if you guys could let me know if the audio is good, I'd appreciate it. Oh, when you take that first gulp, I'd imagine it's how junkies feel, you know, when they shoot up for the first time in a while. Or how cats feel when they take catnip, man. What's happening, guys? I'm all caffeinated up. It's Friday night. Ready to start the weekend, man. Shout out to HM. Good to see you, brother. God bless. Helenius wants the bell rings. Yeah, absolutely. Snoozing, innit? Gonna square up right for that right hand, innit? He's gonna present it nicely. Shout out to you, man. God bless you. Hi, what up? How's it going, man? Shout out to Lee Talks Boxing. Good to see you here, bro. God bless. Every time. Yep, audio sound good. Awesome. Awesome. It's a huge weight off my mind. So, also, yep, R.I.P. to that beautiful bastard in your picture. Yep, absolutely. R.I.P. to Big Robbie Coltrane, man. Big Hagrid. PS1 Hagrid. You know, that big hairy alcoholic bastard, you know. That big negligent, inappropriate alky who takes kids into the middle of the woods, but it's just so likable, you know. Now, shout out to him, man. I liked Robbie Coltrane, man. He actually lived just up the road from me. He's relatively well liked over here. He's a Glasgow man, and yeah, it's a real shame, man. That kind of made me tear up a little when I heard about that, man. God bless him. R.I.P. Robbie Coltrane, absolutely, man. God bless him. Good to see you here, Eric. God bless you, man. Hope all is well. Enjoyed your Andre Ward vid. Yeah, man, that Andre Ward vid, actually, it got a lot better a reception than I was expecting, I must say. that actually took me by surprise. I was expecting that video would get me a bit of heat, to be honest. But thankfully, a lot of people seem to like it. You know, they seem to really take to it. So, yeah, thanks for that, man. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed making it, man. I want to make more videos like it, you know, more documentary style videos with good editing and stuff. I just, you know, I want to take a bit more care with the channel going forward, you know, and just make content that'll actually last, you know, and actually actually contribute something to the channel, if you know, or something to the community, if you know what I mean. Because if I'm being honest, like Andre Ward and fighters like him, there's far too many channels out there spreading absolute nonsense and lies, and somebody's got to come on here and make similar sort of content, but actually present the truth, if you know what I mean. Somebody has got to do it, and if nobody else, why not me, you know? So I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Nice to see you making numerous videos this week. You're consistent, unlike me. Yeah, sorry. I mean, this week I've had a bit of time on my hands, you know. My job's been a little bit easier than usual. I've had time to actually edit during the day and all that. So yeah, during the day I've not been as busy as usual at my job. You know, I was undergoing different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different responsibilities, and yeah, I had more time on my hands. So I was able to make a good few videos this week for both my channels, actually, which is quite surprising. I was able to get a lot of editing done. Is Haney Cambosos tomorrow? Yeah, I believe it's tomorrow. Completely forgot about it until your vid. No plans on watching. Yeah, same. It's not a fight I'm interested in. The only reason I made a video about it is because I was, like I said, I had some time on my hands. I had nothing else to do, and yeah, I felt like making a boxing video. And yeah, look, Haney Cambosos too, it is what it is. It's a contracted rematch. It's something that you just want to get out the way in it. So hopefully Cambosos goes in there, leaves it all in the ring, swings for the fences looking for an early knockout, because aside from that, he has no chance. I think we all know he's going to get beat But yeah, he's going to have to. If he really wants to win, he's going to have to sell out. He's going to have to throw caution to the wind, and he's going to have to give it his all. Because that's his only chance of even making it competitive, let alone winning. About time Ward got the treatment. Yeah, exactly. It's about time somebody actually spoke the truth about Ward, because again, it's not just Ward that this applies to. There's a lot of fighters that this can apply to, but the YouTube boxing community and boxing media and boxing social media in general, they basically put these guys on a pedestal that they don't belong on, as far as I'm concerned. And the normies get tricked, they get duped, manipulated, and there's so much lies and so much propaganda, and it just isn't right, man. It isn't right at all. So somebody's got to come on here and has got to make enjoyable content, and has got to actually portray the truth. You shouldn't come on here with the intent on building an audience, if you know what I mean. If you're going to come on here and talk about boxing, why not come on and actually try and present the facts and actually reveal the truth about the sport, if you know what I mean? Do you feel like the media is underestimating Helenius' chances? Well, if this was an entirely legitimate fight with no politics involved, I think a lot of people would be picking Helenius. I would certainly give him a chance, but I just don't feel that Wilder can be trusted. I've seen so much corruption involving Wilder's career. I've seen so many things about him that just don't make any sense. Opponents who basically just fight in a way that's convenient for him, and I don't see this Helenius fight being any different, if I'm being honest, man. Wilder is supremely overrated, and 100-year-old Ortiz outboxed him in 2 fights. Yeah, he did. And that's the thing. Look, Wilder can easily be outboxed. But the problem is, a lot of these guys who fight Wilder, they don't fight to their strengths. They fight to his strengths. And is Wilder just like playing 4D chess? Is he really like a mad genius or something? Or is there something else behind? Is there something else going on? Something behind it all. I mean, call me a cynic, but I don't think that Wilder's fights are. I think there's more that meets the eye involving him. Anyone else not looking forward to a weekend of female boxing, destruction of womanhood? I never watched female boxing. No interest in it whatsoever. I question the sanity of anybody who is interested in it, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I'm a misogynist because I don't like seeing women beat each other's brains in and seeing them end up in the hospital and shit, with mashed up faces. I don't like to see that, because obviously I am some sort of raging incel who hates women. That's why I don't like to see them hurt. I'd much rather see them get their fucking tits cut off, undergo life-altering surgery. I'd much rather see that, because I respect women, Where was I? Here we are. Should do more career breakdowns like the Ward vid. Definitely one of my favorites from you. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, a lot of people seem to really like that vid. I did get a couple of like flipping, Amero bum fanboys on there complaining, but that was to be expected, and I didn't get as many of them as I thought I would. A lot of people actually really took to that video and felt it was well, I mean, obviously the information in it was factual, but a lot of people were really conceding that, yeah, it was the truth about Ward. And a lot of these other channels, like these fluff piece channels, they don't ever keep it real with Ward. Your Rummy's Corner and all these other clowns, they're just basically, they're basically doing what they believe will get them the most engagement. Whereas what I'm doing on here with my retrospective videos and whatnot, I'm telling you what I really think. I'm trying to make them as authentic and genuine as possible. So because I do this independently, and because I'm not tethered to any agenda, I'm not sponsored by anybody and whatnot. I'm not in the camp of any fighter or promoter. you know that what I'm saying here is genuine. You know that it's the real article. You know, what you see is what you get. You know what you get from my channel is you get my honest perspective, and even if you don't agree with it, at least you know that it's genuine. You know, is what it is. Can't believe PBC wants folks to pay $75 for the Wilder fight. Disgusting, mate. Imagine paying anything for that fight. I mean, that's a as far as I'm concerned, the quality of that fight. This is even assuming it's a real fight. The quality of that fight is an undercard attraction. You know, when you get a world title fight or like a high level domestic fight, then you get sort of a heavyweight crossroads fight on the undercard. That's what that fight is to me. I don't see that as a pay-per-view headliner. To me, that's absolutely shocking. And I agree, that's disgusting. Putting that fight on pay-per-view and charging $75 in this current climate, that's shocking to me, man. It really is. Shows you that the PBC are just money-greedy idiots, man. Women's boxing, no one can convince me that Mayer and Baumgardner aren't gender swapped. Yeah, they probably are gender swapped, mate. I've suspected that about Clarissa Shields, for example, for a while. You know, that there's probably a lot of them. And it'll become common knowledge at one point, or at least I suspect it will, you know. Yeah, those probably aren't women. They probably aren't women. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Not that I've inspected their genitalia or anything, but I'm telling you right now, it wouldn't surprise me. Ryder versus Parker looks like it's confirmed. That's a great fight, man. Tell you one thing, that's a domestic level fight that I think is definitely worth looking into, because it's a hard one to pick, man. Like, I've always rated Zach Parker, and I thought Zach Parker was going to beat Andrade, as some of you guys know. But John Ryder's a seasoned veteran. He's a guy who's lingered around world level, who did very well at domestic level. You know, he's had some very unlucky decision defeats, like against Saunders, against Fielding, against Smith, and a lot of people thought he won those fights, and he clearly beat Danny Jacobs. So as far as I'm concerned, Parker has got a difficult challenge there. That's a massive step up in class for him. Shout out to Friesen Boxing. Good to see you here, brother. Salute. God bless. Looks like Helenius didn't train at all. What a surprise. He's fighting a former sparring partner. Yeah, that's actually quite common with Helenius. You know, he's a bit of a lazy slob. I've said this before about Helenius. I've said it over the years. He's one of these fighters he's hot and cold. Some fights he shows up in shape and he actually comes to win. Other fights he shows up and he just doesn't even try, and he looks as if he hasn't even trained a day. And I suspect that that's probably the case here. I suspect this is a payday fight for him. Like you say, he's fighting his former sparring partner. They're probably friends behind the scenes. He's probably getting a lot of money to line up nicely for that right hand, you know. Just find a little soft spot on the canvas, a little comfy spot to lay down, you know. The last woman's fight I saw was Rigondeaux Casimero. Yeah, that might as well have been a flipping woman's fight. Just came back. You said cutting tits off. You heard that out of context, man. Nah, I'm not cutting anybody's tits off. I was talking about, you know, I was making a reference to how I don't like to watch women's boxing. You know, I'm a misogynist for not liking to see women beat each other's brains in, apparently. But you know, if you're against women cutting their tits off and pretending to be men, you know, then you or if you support that, then you're a true woman's rights advocate, you know. Here's what it is, man. That's the upside down clown world that we live in, isn't it? But it is what it is. Big up Nordic. Good to see you here, man. God bless. Wardvid was one of the best boxing docs I've ever seen on YouTube. Thanks, man. Truth being spoken when it doesn't fit the narrative is the only truth that matters. Yeah, I agree, man. Thanks. And that's the reason I made that video, because there's been so many videos about Ward that are just, you know, in my personal opinion, are just complete and utter fluff pieces. And to me, it's actually disgusting, because we're seeing the ripple effects of that with guys like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney and whatnot fighting just like Ward, and his tactics are being taught, and the sport of boxing is being evolved, if you know what I mean. It's being changed to getting away from, or as far away from, the Marcus of Queensberry rules as possible. And it's people like Andre Ward, Bernard Hopkins, Floyd Mayweather, and the like who are responsible for that, in my opinion. You know, I mean, look, I mentioned guys like Carl Froch and others who, you know, disrespected the rules of boxing, and you know, Andre Ward, to me, it just, something had to be done about it, you know, because there's a lot of these like well produced and, you know, professional videos on YouTube, and a lot of them are just filled with lies and misinformation. So I kind of felt obligated to make that video, you know. I wanted to make that video just to get the right information out there and something genuine, you know. Why can't people take boxing for what it is and just enjoy it? Yeah. Well, the problem is, you know, some of us are boxing purists, and we remember a better time in boxing, and, you know, we just want to contribute to it and make it as entertaining and honorable as we can, you know. Greetings, Valley. Good to see you, brother. God bless. Romney's corner is very biased for American fighters. I think he's just a grifter who says whatever gets him the most interaction. You know, you promote the right agendas, go along with the generally accepted mainstream media narratives, then yeah, you gain more interaction on here, and you make more money as a result of it, you know. But me, on the other hand, I don't do this for money. I do this for the passion of it. I love it, you know. I really love it. Yeah, boxing mostly has become fake. Rummy's corner you're on about, he hates Klitschko. Doesn't surprise me, man. Not one bit. What do you think of Ultra Tech Channel? I'm not too familiar with Ultra Tech. I may have come across the channel, but it doesn't ring a bell at the moment. If it comes to me, I'll let you know. You know, Wilder is world level, not a chump. Yeah, I agree. He is world level. Wilder is Ryder. Sorry, is a very, very good. I'd say he's a very high level domestic fighter who has dabbled at world level, and he could definitely give an inexperienced fighter like Zach Parker one of the toughest fights of his career. I think Parker should win it, but I would not be at all surprised if it's his hardest fight, and I would not be at all surprised if Ryder was able to get the win. It's a close 50-50 fight where I slightly, maybe just a tad bit, slightly favor Parker. I'm thinking Parker might win on a controversial decision. I think it will be close, but a lot of people will think Ryder's done enough. I could see that. Because that's been a pattern with a lot of Ryder fights where he loses a close, controversial decision where a lot of people think that he should have won, you know? It happens a lot, man. It's happened like at several stages throughout his career, you know? Are the lines on Parker Ryder? Really hoping Ryder is a decent underdog. Can't see it though. The bookies being that naive. Nah, I haven't heard anything about the odds, but I'll keep an eye open for him. You know. Hagrid actor died. Yeah, big Robbie Coltrane passed away, man. Just found out about it right before I started the stream. Yeah, God bless him. He actually is from my neck of the woods. He's from just up the road from me, actually. Yeah, so he's quite popular around here. He's popular in Glasgow. God bless him. Was quite based too. Based Hagrid. Should do a career retrospect vid on King of Maribum Floyd. Do you know what? I've thought about it. That's one that will take me a long time. And man, I really don't want to watch Floyd's fights again. But I guess from what I've seen, I could make a video on memory, you know. But it would be annoying. But I'll probably do it. Thoughts on Warrington Lopez? That's a very good fight, man. Warrington, he should win it. He's the better fighter, but he's got to be careful, man. If he fights the way he did against Lara in that first fight, I could see him getting knocked out. But I think if he takes his time, keeps a tight guard, applies steady pressure, educated pressure, and you just keeps himself, just keeps himself calm in the ring, doesn't get overly excited, and make sure that he relies on his fundamentals rather than his just sheer physicality. I think he should win the fight by decision or a late stoppage, but it's definitely a dangerous fight, man. 100%, mate. Couldn't put it better. When cheating becomes seen as skill and respected as talent, all hope is lost. Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. When we see fighters cheat in the past, that's a disgrace. They're cheating. But nowadays, when fighters fight like that, particularly if it's a fighter from a particular demographic or a particular contingent, like Americans, basically, Western fighters, they get so much praise for it. They get called skilled, crafty veterans rather than what they really are, which is cheaters, I don't like it one bit, man. It needs to stop. It really does. How do you rate Chris John, his win over Marquez? Well, that's a very good win. I haven't actually watched that fight, though. I've not seen it start to finish anyway. And I know the fight was in Indonesia, and I think Marquez had points deducted, didn't he? And I don't know the overall technicalities of that fight because I haven't watched it all the way. But from what I do know, the fight was in Chris John's backyard, and he got the win on points, and there were point deductions involved. So I don't know, but I'll need to watch it. But obviously on paper, it's a great win. Chris John had a great career, but the way it ended was quite disappointing. He quit on his stool, but obviously in his prime, he was a long-time champion, and yeah, that win over Marquez, it's very impressive on paper, at least. What gets me are the biased commentators like Kellerman, etc. Yeah, Kellerman is a disgrace, an absolute cuck. And he's not the only one. Most of them are. And that's how they get in the business. They kiss a lot of ass. And by kissing a lot of ass, you get a lot of success, sadly. What do you think of Simon Jordan's new podcast on TalkSport? Never watched it. Never listened to it. To be perfectly honest, I'm not actually sure who Simon Jordan is. The name rings a bell. Definitely rings a bell. I think I've heard it before, but I don't actually know who he is. Your country is fucked up when Simon Jordan has become a what's that word? Demagogue for everyone. I sound like a dummy, when I read words and I don't know what they mean. Like I sound like a dummy when that happens, especially when it happens live, man. But yeah, I don't even know who that is. Again, the name seems familiar, but I don't know who it is. As long as Josh boxes like he did in the second Lara fight, he should win a decision. I thought he was boxing well in that fight. I agree. I don't like the headbutts, though. He needs to stop the Andre Ward stuff. But skill-wise, Josh Warrington is very good. Hope Warrington doesn't use his head again. He's the white half of Andre Ward, yeah. Yeah, and Andre Ward probably been giving him private lessons, man, bashing his head off the wall and all that, like a billy goat. And Andre the Ram Ward, Hammerhead Ward, Ward should have like a third glove on his head. He really should, man. And Warrington needs to stop it. What's your opinion on Hatman? Is he covert anti-white? Well, he's not covert. He's just flat out anti-white. He always has been. And the guy's a clown who doesn't know fuck all about boxing. Don't know why anybody watches him, man. He's an idiot. Rather watch Floyd than Ward. Yeah, same. Absolutely. Well, no, in fact, now that I think about that, Ward did beat the piss out of Carl Froch, so I'll always enjoy watching that. There was nothing Floyd did which makes me nostalgic, so I don't know, that's a hard one. But Ward's a piece of shit. Screw Ward. He's the UK LDBC. He's just an idiot, man. He's a grifter. I've got no time for grifters. Shout out to Johnny. Good to see you here, brother. God bless. Great video on Stain Ward the other day, mate. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm surprised that video, like I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm surprised that video actually got such a positive response. I was expecting a negative feedback from that video. I wasn't expecting a lot of people to take to it, but thankfully they did, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. God bless. I pay to watch Warrington and Ward headbutt each other in goat costumes. Yeah, like dressed as rams, just smashing their heads against each other. Like two alpha rams. Could you imagine that, man? I think they should just bash each other's heads off the wall, innit? I feel sorry for the wall. Kellerman saying to Ward, what you did will be taught in boxing gyms for decades to come. Yeah, he's not kidding, is he? After winning these from 3 low blows was disgusting. Funny enough, he was correct, at least in black gyms. Oh, of course he is. I mean, look at what we've been seeing. You know, we've had Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Tank or whoever. Is Tank one of the guys I'm thinking of? A lot of these American fighters, right? Mostly black American fighters, you know. Again, call me whatever you want, but that seems to be the trend, doesn't it? And it's not exclusive to black Americans. We're seeing it in the UK as well, but it seems to be mostly in America that a lot of these guys are, because of the way that the boxing commentators, and this is part of the reason I made the video, boxing commentators, uploaders, and content creators on here blowing all this smoke up Andre Ward's arse, talking about how he's the greatest fighter ever, and calling him a crafty veteran and stuff like that, instead of just keeping it real and telling the truth. Right, speak the truth and let us know what's really going on. Otherwise, casual boxing fans, young kids, impressionable types are going to look at that and they're going to think that that's all right. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing with the likes of what's his name, Devin Haney, and that other clown Shakur. They're just a symptom of what's going on. Andre, son of battering ram Ward. Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying before, you should have a flipping, you know, he should have a, what'd you call it? A third glove on his head, man. What about his buddy Chris Andre? They tried telling me the great replacement theory isn't true. I don't know much about Chris Andre. I've not actually sat and watched an entire video of his, so I've no idea. But I know that all I really know about him is the videos that Precise made about him. Other than that, I don't know much about the guy. So I've got no problem with him. But I don't like Hatman. I think Hatman's a grifter. Big Robbie will always be fits to me. Cracker was absolute class. Yeah, Cracker was awesome, man. That was a good one from back in the day. Yeah, shout out to Big Robbie, man. Based Hagrid. PS1 Hagrid was always my favorite Hagrid. Yeah, that was badass, man. Max loves Andre more than Jack loved the spoiled gun in Titanic. Yeah. I mean, Max Kuckerman. That's his real name. Here we are. Here he is. Max Kuckerman. That's him there. Him and his boyfriend Ward, man. Just an absolute disgrace. He is. What's up? Am I late? No, you're not late at all. It's only been less than half an hour, actually. 1 second. Where am I? Why aren't you a fan of Fury? I find him charismatic and I liked his rant about the Zionists. Look, I've spoke about this many times in the past. And look, my feelings on Fury, I've got mixed feelings on him. I followed his career from very early on, since the ITV4 days. And at one point in time, I was a fan. But a lot of things happened over the years. And long story short, I believe he sold out personally. I believe Fury sold out. I believe he's controlled opposition. You know, I may be wrong, but that's how I see it, man. But again, you know, we all have our own opinions on certain fighters, don't we? I'm not obligated to be a fan of anybody, you know. You may have prompted me to do a Ward video after that one. Yeah, go ahead, man. I'd enjoy that. Everyone needs to have their go at exposing Ward, you know. Andre Ward belongs in a medieval siege. Just get him running headfirst at that gate, yeah? Yeah, get Ward, Warrington, Hopkins, and, I don't know, like Zinedine Zidane or some of those people and get them to just charge at the wall. Get, like, flipping Shakur and all that to do it, too. Got Wilder winning by KO in 4 rounds. I could see that. I could see it being an early knockout for Wilder. People hate me for my views on Ali. To me, he was just a dribbly fool, failed drug tests, and more racist than the whole LDBC combined. Yeah, Ali was a piece of shit. Let's be honest. At least at one point in time, he was. I think maybe Maybe in his later years he was different, but at one point in time he definitely was a complete moron, you know. Shout out to John McSmith. God bless you here, brother. Good to see you here. I like Fury. He plays the game so well. Well, he's definitely a good fighter, and he's definitely a exploitative individual, someone who knows how to get his way, you know. But again, I'm not obligated to be a fan of the guy. I believe he's a sellout. I believe he sold out years ago. Fury is the biggest sellout in boxing. I don't hate him as much as I hate his blinded fanboys. His fanboys are just insufferable. But then again, so are all fanboys, you know. But Fury's fanboys are some of the worst. Like, they're definitely some of the most deluded. And some of the most hypocritical, I might add. They're definitely that. Yeah, Zidane. Andre Ward, you know, he learned how to fight watching Zinedine Zidane, innit? Oh, man. Ali like children, if you know what I mean. Yeah, there's rumours, isn't there? One does hear rumours about such things. Well, he's just acting like his prophet then, isn't he? You know, his white slave-owning prophet. If I ever make a spoof film, I will make a siege scene on the head of the battering ram. Will be an image of Ward's fast shifting from a Kovalev. Right? Yeah. That'd be funny, man. I could picture that. Anyone who calls Ali the GOAT just mentioned the Henry Cooper fight where a journeyman cruiserweight would have KO'd him if his corner didn't cheat, splitting his glove open and giving him smelling salts. Yeah, that was a disgrace. That fight, I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, but if I didn't know any better, I'd be very surprised by the fact that that's not generally considered one of the biggest disgraces in the history of boxing. I mean, that man was literally robbed of a KO victory. He literally knocked Muhammad Ali out, and they took the victory off him. And he only lost the fight on a cut. And even if you watch the rematch, he was completely schooling Ali. You know, Henry Cooper was not a world-class fighter, but he was a solid, like, European-level fighter at the time. And, you know, he was kind of on the verge of becoming a journeyman. And he was definitely undersized, undermatched, but he still was able to legitimately beat Muhammad Ali, you know. It's a bloody shame, it really is, because he was robbed of his place in boxing history. And look, Ali could have come back from it, you know. If he'd have gotten knocked out and lost the fight, he could have come back and still became champion. Lots of fighters have won a title after being knocked out, but the boxing establishment weren't going to let that happen, were they? You know, because obviously they had plans for him. You know, they had plans for Cassius Clay at that point in time, you know. I don't believe I blocked you on my page. I searched all over to unblock you. Or did he think that you had him unblocked? Or you had him blocked? I see. But yeah, I agree 100% about Ali. That Henry Cooper fight, disgrace. And it wasn't the only one either. The second Joe Frazier fight was a disgrace. I mean, you think Klitschko Povetkin was bad. Look at Ali versus Joe Frazier too. It was the same kind of fight, you know. Similar sort of performance it was. Where was I? Half of Fury fanboys predictively picked David Price to beat him 10 years ago. Absolutely, they did. The other half jumped on the bandwagon after he beat Vladimir or Wilder. Yeah, I've been saying this for years. People jumped on Fury's bandwagon when he beat Klitschko, and a lot of them never jumped off it, you know. But I tell you right now, see, if he lost a fight, they would jump right off it and they jump on the next guy. They would, because that's how a lot of boxing fans are like, you know. A lot of them are very fickle and very untrustworthy. You know, a lot of them are essentially glory supporters. That's why I think a lot of people jumped on Canelo and sort of abandoned Triple G, because they saw that Canelo was being protected, that he was, you know, the manufactured A side, and that they wanted to be on the winning side. You know, I see the same kind of situation with Fury, you know. Camboso is so embarrassing. He's still talking trash at the face-off press conference. It's sad. He knows he's about to get his arse kicked, and he's just trying to sell as many tickets as he can, man. Cambosos is a hype job. He was only hyped because of the Tiafimo fight, and Tiafimo was a fraud anyway, so it is what it is, man. He knows he's going to lose, and his only chance is to go out there and try and force a stoppage. It's literally his only chance, as far as I'm concerned. I'd be shocked if he wins that fight. I really, really would. Well, Fury is a bit too chummy with Bob Arum. That's always bothered me. Well, Bob Arum's his promoter, isn't he? So he's got to keep him sweet, you know. But yeah, they are close friends now, it seems. Ali gone down as the most famous and greatest boxers in history. It's a shame the truth was brushed away. Just a lesson in history, really. Yeah, that's why us on here with social media, like in this social media era, we need to take advantage of the technology we've got to ensure that we highlight the truth. For example, never allow anybody to forget how Ward won those fights, right? When he won his title, let's never let anybody forget that he won his first world title on headbutts. Never let anybody forget that he won his second division world title on low blows and cheating and got a gift. Like never allow the boxing public to forget it. And as long as you keep speaking the truth and show the footage, people will, some people will fight against it, but they won't be able to provide a credible argument because you're going to have the proof, irrefutable video evidence, like I did with that Ward video. I mean, you watch that video and everything I showed in the video for what happened in those fights, I backed it up with video evidence. So, yeah, you can't really argue with it. Can't argue with the video evidence. Here's what it is. You saw what happened, man. If you saw the fight, you saw what happened. And if you saw what happened, you can't argue with it. Ali was most definitely amazing. A lot of smoke and mirrors surrounding his life legacy. He was definitely in the club. He had a lot of protection, a lot of manufactured sob stories and stuff like that. And yeah, he was definitely a fraud in many respects, And he was nowhere near as great a fighter as some of the modern heavyweights. Alexander Povetkin, Usyk, Klitschko, Fury, even AJ, they all knock him out as far as I'm concerned. They are far too big and far too athletic. For face planting Wilder, all Fury's sins are forgiven. Yeah, I'm glad he beat the piss out of Wilder. Someone had to do it, man. Wilder's head was getting too big for his boots. And I think the boxing establishment, in some ways, they set him up. They gave him a real fight, He was probably expecting a dive and he got a real fight. Hagler's a very overrated fighter. Triple G prime for prime would school and knock him out. And a lot of old heads are afraid to admit that. Yeah, I agree. I think Triple G knocks him out in 4 rounds. I don't think it's even a competitive fight. I think David Lemieux knocks out Hagler. I think most of Triple G's best title defenses, even Danny Jacobs probably knocks out Hagler. It's just how I see it. I don't think Hagler was anywhere near as great as people say. Notice the Fury deadlines have disappeared. Yeah. The deadlines were going to be as long as they needed to be, But I wonder if he's going to fight Chisora or if he's going to fight Gigachar, man. It's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen there. Maybe do a vid on Ali. I would love to. I would love to because all of the videos out there on Ali are complete fluff pieces, and I would love to do just an absolutely pure red pill, truth-filled, retrospective breakdown in everything that's wrong with them, and breaking down the absolute truth. It would take a lot of research, and it would take a lot of archived footage and stuff like that, and it'd be a difficult video to make. But you guys know me, I like a challenge. And I would definitely go ahead and do it. I really would. At some point, I probably will do it. I most likely will. Same with Jack Johnson, that other bum, that other fraud. I'd like to do a video about him too. Jack Catterall did his best Ward impression. Yeah, he definitely got the clinching right. clinching and being sneaky on the inside, hitting on the break and hitting his opponent while he was down. He definitely got that down, He definitely learned some things from sparring with Floyd and Canelo, sparring with Amero bums. He learned a lot of cheating and spoiling tactics. Jeremy, not even 1% of what Ward did. Yeah, Catterall's a dirty cheat, but Ward takes dirty cheating to a whole new level, Most famous Ali pictures were staged. Political reasons. There's a good documentary on him, but don't remember the title. Yeah, there's a lot of Ali documentaries, isn't there? Most of them are painting him in a positive light. And even when he did just despicable, horrible things, like the horrible way he treated Joe Frazier, the way he treated his wife. So the guy was a complete scumbag a lot of the time. And yeah, he was they kind of play it off for laughs, don't they? Some of the things that Ali did, and they don't really go into much detail. They tend to focus more on the positive. And yeah, he's definitely someone who's viewed in a positive light, but I don't think that he's always viewed in the most accurate light, if you know what I mean. Hagler top 3 all-time middleweight and top 3 all-time southpaws. That's not overrated. That's just a fact. He didn't fight in the strongest era. Fought mostly lightweights and welterweights. Guys who were half his size. Had to cheat a bit to beat Thomas Hearns. I don't know, man. Hagler. I mean, he lost to a welterweight who was coming off of a 3.5-year layoff. Good fighter, but overrated in my opinion. Both Ward and Catterall fought like that because they don't have the skill to compete. Exactly. They can't box and they can't compete legitimately. So what they have to do is cheat, That's the only way that they can. It's the only way that they can survive a fight is to just cheat and spoil, Ali was anti-government, controlled opposition for the naive Vietnam protesters and Muslims to get behind. Yeah, the Nation of Islam, they get their claws into him. And what's interesting about it too is Ali's name Cassius was his original name, which is, it was named after a famous figure from history who was against slavery, whereas his name Muhammad, it's quite ironic because Muhammad was a white man and he was a man who owned slaves. So yeah, he changed his name from an anti-slavery activist to a man who literally owned slaves. I mean, it's hilarious, man, and it's ironic. Fury versus Chisora, fight of the century. Yeah, the rematch that we didn't know we needed, but we do. Fury versus Chisora, the trilogy. That's not a trilogy I thought I'd ever see, man. But if we do, it's funny. I must admit, it's quite funny. I did a Red Pill stream on Ali prior to me getting locked up in April. I said he was a scumbag racist. He was. Terrible father, husband, role model. The blowback from the BLM boys was awesome. I bet it was, Johnny. I bet it was. Yeah, he was a piece of shit, let's be honest. As much as people don't want to hear it because of the way he was protected and coddled and the way he's been portrayed by the mainstream, they just don't want to hear the truth about any of these guys, man. His mama named him Clay, so I'm going to call him Clay. Why every time I bring up Joe Louis, some white boy got to bring up Rocky Marciano? That's a great movie, man. I love that movie. Clay drooled and mumbled the last 30 years of his life, yeah, sadly. So what happens when you take too many punches, man? It can mess up your brain. Josh Taylor and Catterall both did a ton of shit fouling. People like to only point out Catterall's. That's because it was Catterall initiating it all. He didn't show up to win. He showed up to foul and spoil. He didn't show up to fight. Showed up to survive and spoil. Both Liston fights were fixed. Yeah, absolutely. They were. Ali clearly lost all 3 Norton fights. Got KO'd by Cooper and another robbery win over Jimmy Young. People make Ali to be Jesus. He's actually a devil in disguise. Yeah, he those Sonny Liston fights were an absolute disgrace. Sonny Liston, of course, was in deep with the mob, and Ali was the young Olympic gold medalist that they were trying to build up. And like you say, he got gift decisions. The protection he received against Cooper. Definitely a lot of corruption that a lot of people don't talk about, Don't even think Fury versus Chisora will be a real fight. White got stopped from a glancing blow. Yeah, I mean, that even if that was a real fight, I don't give Chisora even the slightest bit of chance. Chisora is at this stage of his career, he's a journeyman. He got absolutely dominated by Pulev. I don't care what anybody says. Like a 40-odd-year-old Pulev beat him clearly, just like he did in the first fight. And it was a disgraceful decision. And if he gets to fight off Fury off the back of that, and it's a real fight, like if Fury goes in there absolutely wanting to destroy him and wanting to win like legitimately and conclusively, he will absolutely brutalize Chisora and probably knock him out early, Amazing video, mate, on Andre Ward, masterpiece. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I really enjoyed making that video, and I'm glad that people seem to like it. Thanks, man. God bless. Nation of Islam were controlled operatives. So were Ali. So was Ali. Yeah, of course they were. They're just another media-hyped, manufactured faction, basically. That's all they were. It's all any of these groups are. They're all agent provocateurs here to divide and conquer society. I like Chisora more than Fury Char. Yeah. The thing is, we've already seen the Chisora fight twice, whereas at least Char, we haven't seen him fight Fury before. So, look, they're both bums at this stage of their career. They both got no chance. But I don't know, man. I was kind of looking forward to the Giga Char spectacle. That would have been funny. Thoughts on Wilder being 214 and Helenius being 250. Helenius is probably trained at Burger King or something, and Wilder's probably on the roids, the diuretics. I don't know, man. Either way, it's probably going to be a fixed fight. Don't forget the pathetic fixed fight with Zara Foley. Yeah, there's a lot of them, man. There really is. Cassius drooling for his remaining 30 years was karma of being a scumbag for the first 40 years of his life. Yeah, it could have just all been down to the beating that Joe Frazier gave him in that first fight. I mean, that beating would give anybody Parkinson's. Really would, man. Potentially. Devil in disguise is the right description. He was very vain too. Oh yeah, the dude was an absolute narcissist. Absolutely disgracefully obsessed with himself, Not paying for the Fury Chisora job. Mate, if that fight is on pay-per-view and anybody who pays for it is a complete moron, man. Like, seriously. Imagine paying for a trilogy fight between Fury and a journeyman who he beat years ago in his prime. Come on, man. It's just ridiculous if they put that on pay-per-view. There's no way of justifying it as far as I'm concerned, man. It is so ridiculous and sad, but quite funny. Wilder was all lovey-dovey with Helenius today, but make no mistake about it, if he does lose, he will be disappearing for a year, then complaining about him cheating somehow. Worst loser ever, yeah. Yeah, if Helenius knocked him, I'll tell you exactly what will happen there. If Helenius does beat Wilder, he won't, I don't think, but if he does, what will happen is Wilder will call up Layman Brewster, and he will have Layman Brewster talk about how he claimed Helenius loaded his gloves. And Wilder will claim that Helenius loaded his gloves against him. That's what will happen there, guaranteed. If Helenius wins, that'll definitely happen, no doubt about it. Who do you think is the best 175-pounder of all time? Do you know, I honestly think that if Sergey Kovalev was able to reach his full potential, he had a shot at being that. But I also think, look, there's a lot of great fighters out there. I think if Joe Calzaghe had moved up to 175 earlier in his career, I know he did fight there towards the end. If he'd have moved up there early in his career, he would have had a shout. Obviously, you have guys like Roy Jones in his prime and Darius Mikulchevsky. There's been a lot of great fighters in that division. I'm not really sure who's the best, but there are guys like Kovalev who I think had the potential to be the best, but never really reached his potential, Someone came out and put a how Andre Ward dominated a tournament. Yeah, I was recommended that. I didn't watch it. How Andre Ward dominated a tournament, and all those retards commenting what a beast he was. Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see the video, but I saw the I saw it recommended to me, and I basically clicked the little thing that says "Don't recommend channel." You know, that clown, whoever it was that uploaded that. That was like the day after I uploaded mine as well. So hopefully, people off the back of seeing that, I think it was that channel, Motivator Media, so some clown, I don't know, obviously some normie channel. And hopefully off the back of that, people see my video and then they see the truth about Ward. It turns their world upside down and then they get red pilled. They see the truth, you know. Fury versus Chisora will be an exhibition, not a fight. Yeah, probably. Probably. I mean, is Fury going to set about Chisora? Like, is he going to go in there and absolutely beat the piss out of Chisora, who he's already beaten twice? I doubt it. They'll probably just toy with him, and Chisora will probably take a dive, you know? Probably be a fixed fight. What about Malcolm X? CIA agent, in my opinion. He left the Nation of Islam at the later stages of his life, but I'm not sure whether he's controlled he's controlled opposition. I believe Malcolm X was a CIA agent. Nothing about his life or his backstory makes any sense. Noel was funded by a white man that worked for the CIA. Its purpose was to destroy black people. Yeah, probably, man. Probably. Yeah, trained at Burger King. Yeah, Helenius. Training with one of them flipping, what'd you call it? Training with one of them like XL bacon double cheeseburgers. You know, that's his nutrition, you know. Oh man. They just built a Burger King down the road from me. Because that's all we need, innit? More Burger Kings, man. Flipping Burger King, man. It's so bad for you. It really is, man. Yeah. Busta Rhymes versus Michael Myers was a more realistic fight than Cashier's Liston, yeah. Liston just quit on his stool for no reason in the first fight. Then in the second fight, gets hit with like a half slap and he goes down like a sack of spuds, is like rolling around on the floor like, oh, the pain of the punch. He hit so hard. You know, it's like Wilder's opponents, man. He was the original Wilder, wasn't he, man? Ali, in that second Liston fight. But, you know, we know that Liston had problems with the law. You know, he'd been arrested a bunch of times, had a rap sheet. You know, he was in deep with the mob, according to rumor. You know, is what it is, man. I think we know what happened there, don't we? Oh, about Nation of Islam, Malcolm X was the only legit person there. He also called out a certain tribe of angelical names to promote division to avoid having the job finished. I think he's a CIA agent, controlled opposition. They will probably pay-per-view it, sadly. Could you imagine? Part of me thinks that surely they can't do that. Surely they can't put Fury versus Chisora 3 on pay-per-view. Surely they can't do that, man. Like, because are boxing fans really that daft that they're going to buy that? I mean, part of me hopes that they won't go there, but again, if I know flipping boxing, it just takes and takes and takes, doesn't it? And gives nothing back, man. That's what it is. Ali fought everyone, didn't duck anyone. I guess. He did fight everybody, to be fair. Pretty much. Fury Chisora is definitely going to be pay-per-view. Surely it bombs, but I've said that about most pay-per-views across the pond, and here is the fact that they are failing the reason to push it out more and more. I don't know, man. I don't see how they can justify that. I mean, Fury, when he was, 20 years old? No, when he was like 22 years old, something like that, he beat Chisora. He beat him again a few years later and did so by stoppage. Are they really going to make that pay-per-view? I mean, the first fight was on Channel 5 and the second fight was on Box Nation, but they're going to fight years later on pay-per-view after Chisora's had a bunch of losses. I doubt they can justify that, man. I really doubt it. It could happen, but they can't justify it. Surely, man. Surely they can't. Yeah, I agree, because Prime Sergey was a monster. It sucks that his career went down after those Ward fights. Yeah, he definitely never achieved his potential. I think Kovalev could potentially have been the best light heavyweight ever if he'd have stayed dedicated and if he'd avoided the politics, you know. I don't know if you talked about Usyk yet. Do you think Usyk should retire or keep fighting at heavyweight to wait for the Fury fight? I think I don't think he should retire, no, because I think there's still big fights out there for him. Even if he can't fight Fury, there's the Joe Joyce fight. There's several other guys coming through. You know, it's not like Usyk doesn't have some fights left in him. But obviously, if he feels he's achieved everything that he wants to achieve, then he can go ahead and retire. But you know, that undisputed fight and that big payday, it's going to be very tempting. It's going to be difficult for him to just give up like that and give up his title, especially when he's still undefeated and he's still relatively young, you know. Of all the things that Ward did in the ring, do you think he had any talent, skills at all? Well, yeah, he was a very talented cheater. He didn't have any boxing skills, but he had talented cheating skills, you know, and expert having referees on his side skills, I guess, if that's even a skill. Shout out to Fight Film. Good to see you here, brother. God bless. I did the same to the recommended vid. Yeah. The motivating media, whatever it's called, the video about Ward. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. As soon as it popped up, I'm like, get that away. I want nothing to do with it. Don't recommend me channel. That's exactly what I was inclined to do. It's exactly what I did. Thoughts on Pacquiao? One of the greatest fighters ever. Yeah, I love Pacquiao. Dude's a legend. Yeah, he didn't have the best record on paper, a bunch of losses, but you know, most of his losses were controversial. He was one of the most entertaining fighters of all time, a true pound for pound, once in a generation fighter. You know, a guy who went through multiple divisions, took on guys twice his size, fought several guys considerably younger and beat the crap out of them, you know. You should do a retrospective on Thomas Hearns and how he would do in today's era. That would be interesting. I wouldn't mind doing that. I'm definitely up to suggestions in regards to that. Malcolm was real. Whacked him because he exposed the founder of Nation of Islam. Who is that? What you mean? Who was a pedo? Yeah, probably. I mean, who knows why he was whacked? That could be one reason. Wilder just stopped watching Athlean X YouTube videos and stuck to boxing trade. That channel is a joke, by the way. That channel, Athlean X, is just a gimmicky channel. Like, how many videos does that guy have to upload? This is how you get big biceps in 3 months or whatever. And I'm like, dude, what a grifter. Seriously, just uploading the same shit over and over. Same talking points and same gimmicks, you know? Liston had a marble chin, never even been stung super bad, but a weak slap from the golden boy made him quiver and pay. Yeah, again, it's like when Wilder lands his right hand and these guys flop like a fish and they go down like a sack of spuds, man. It is what it is. Thomas Hearns would knock out all these modern boxers. I disagree. Thomas Hearns never had the best chin. He never had the best defense, but he was definitely a very big puncher and he had good boxing skills. You know, he was a student of Emmanuel Stewart. He was one of his first elite fighters, but I don't think he'd beat a lot of modern fighters. I think since his era, well, he would beat a lot of modern fighters, but I don't think he'd beat the best ones, you know? Yeah, Liston, a man who literally murdered people, got stopped by that punch. Next thing you'll be telling me is that Wilder had an egg weight implant in his head. Yeah. Yeah, that Liston knockout is hilariously fake. I mean, Liston was a tough dude. Whatever you want to say about the guy, he was hard, man. That dude was tough. And the way he just quit on his stool in that first fight was pathetic. It was sad and it was ridiculous and it just made no sense. And the way he went down, like he'd been hit with a flipping train, or he'd been hit over the head with a bat or something in that second fight with the phantom punch that barely even looked as if it landed hard. I mean, it was ridiculous. I think that was a fixed fight, personally. Fights get made so rarely now, it feels like. Yeah, the fights we actually want to see, they get teased. But then what ends up happening is they end up giving us complete crap, you know. Fury promised Chisora one final payday years ago, according to Big John. I remember that. I remember when Fury was saying that he wants to give... He actually said that in interviews. He said he's got a soft spot for Chisora and he wants to give him another payday. Wonder if he'll let him win. I doubt it. I doubt it. On a positive note, at least we got Prograde versus Zepeda. That's an excellent fight. That is an excellent fight. I agree. I favour Prograde in that fight, but I think it's going to be more competitive than a lot of people think. Zepeda has one-punch knockout power. He's improving his boxing skills. You know, he hasn't looked fantastic in fights, but he's one of those guys who, on a good night, can really test you. You know, in addition to being a southpaw, he's a counterpuncher. He's very, very patient. That's one thing I've noticed about Zepeda, is he's a very patient fighter. He doesn't go out there looking to just blast you out. He's not too eager to impress. He doesn't really worry about the crowd much. He's a guy who just is very, very cautious, very committed when he does throw his punches, and he's good at setting you up. You know, one of the things that helped him get through that Baranchik fight was the fact that while Baranchik was like swinging for the fences and trying to slug his way to a knockout victory, Zepeda, despite being caught cold and being hurt several times and knocked down several times, he never lost cool and never lost his cool. He stayed focused on the task at hand, and he just waited for opportunities. He allowed Baranchik to punch himself out, and he set up a beautiful punch-perfect knockout. That was really impressive, man. He's a fantastic fighter, Zepeda. Like, he's not the most like impressive athlete. He's not the fastest. He's not the most explosive, but he has a lot of power. He has great technique, and like I said, he's very patient, man. A very sneaky fighter too. He knows how to get the job done, you know. But Prograde's definitely the more impressive athlete. You know, he's quicker. He also has great power. He has slightly better defense, I think. It's a great fight, man. I'd love to see it. Liston is my favorite fighter. Big George Foreman said he was scared to get Liston mad in sparring. No one knew his age. Yeah, Liston in his prime was definitely a beast, man. And for his era, he was fantastic. I mean, him and Rocky Marciano, that would have been a very interesting fight, man. Would have been a great fight. I don't even know who I'd pick. Do you have more Sven Otke videos in the pipeline? Come on, Tom. You know I do. You know I do. Yeah, man. That's what it is. Usyk said he's having 3 more fights max. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, try and get the Fury fight, maybe the Joyce fight, maybe. I heard something about him move back down to cruiserweight. I don't know who he'd fight there. Maybe Canelo, or maybe he'd fight a Coley. I don't know. Usyk versus Wilder. I think Usyk schools Wilder. Maybe even stops him. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The rumors of him moving back down to cruiserweight. I doubt it, but it wouldn't ultimately surprise me, you know. Ripton Spencer Farron with PEDs. Could he have won a Central Area title? No. I think you could give that guy flipping. You know, you could give him whatever they gave Lance Armstrong to win the Tour de France, and he still wouldn't win the flipping Central Area title. No chance. Like you could give that guy Meldonium. He wouldn't do shit, you know. He was rubbish. Absolute rubbish. How's it going, by the way, Base Boxing Basement? Good to see you here, bro. The Triple B, God bless. I'm loving the content, by the way. I'm enjoying it. Yep, what's up, Triple B? God bless. Why push-ups are bad for you? How to really grow your chest? And I used to do push-ups. I've not done them in a while, actually. I don't really see the point, you know. I get like good functional strength workouts at work by just like carrying stuff around and doing bulk uplift and stuff like that, you know. That seems to do it for me, man. That's what it is. Tyson Fury might kill Chisora if they have a third fight. He barely even tried in the second fight. Still destroyed him. And that was way back in 2014, yeah. And Fury's got better since then. And Chisora's got way worse. He's taken beatings. He's been knocked out since. So it's a mismatch, man. I think we all know it. Fury wins easily. Precise has pieces of Andre Ward fanboys remains in his freezer like Dharma. Yeah, he feeds them to the pigs, innit? He's got the Andre Ward fanboys in his freezer and feeds them to Floyd. Shout out to Floyd the pig. God bless. Wilder's brother saying the autopsy revealed Fury was the autopsy. Yeah, remember that. Do you know what I thought about? What was a missed opportunity? What I should have done there is I should have made a video saying R.I.P. Deontay Wilder, and talk about the autopsy. That would have been funny, man. Surely he was trolling. Like, he can't be that stupid, man. If Wilder's brother is that stupid, Marcellus Wilder, whatever his name is, then that's funny. It's tragic, but it's funny. Sonny Liston is one of boxing's biggest what-ifs. He only started boxing at 30 years old in prison and still went on to demolish Floyd Patterson with complete ease. Yeah, he was a hard man, wasn't he, man? Sonny Liston. Like, if that guy had like a extensive amateur background, and if he'd have been professionally trained as an athlete and as a boxer, trained how to fight from his early days and trained how to fight a bit more tactfully, he could have been great, man, because he had obviously a lot of physical attributes like long arms. He had a great jab and he had massively heavy hands. He was a very big puncher. Like, he would have been dangerous, man, for his era. Even might have been able to compete in like future eras, The mob made Liston quit. They used him all his career. Yeah, he had ties to the mob. He had trouble with the law. He's Sonny Liston was a guy who was troubled. Let's be honest. The dude was troubled, and it seems as if they basically used him to build a young Cassius Clay up. Remember when Wilder said he did an X-ray on his skull and said there was a dent there the size of an egg weight, so that proved you cheated him. Yeah. The doctor took the X-ray and they saw a massive, like, egg-shaped dent in his head. I mean, do I even have to discuss what's wrong with that? I mean, come on, man. Bevo versus Ramirez prediction. Will Bevo make it look easy, or will Ramirez surprise us? I actually think, I've been saying this for a while. I haven't made a prediction video yet. I plan to, though. Potentially, I might do it. But I've been saying for a while, I will not be surprised one bit if Ramirez wins that fight. I've always rated Ramirez ever since I first saw him fight. Ever since that Arthur Abraham fight, pretty much. I've thought this guy's legit. He's one of the best fighters in that division. And I would not be surprised one bit if he beats Bevo. If you were to put a gun to my head and ask me right now, without really thinking about it, who wins, I'd say it's 50-50, but I slightly favour Bevo just based on the fact that I think he's more athletic and I think he's got a bit more momentum right now. But I will not be at all surprised if Ramirez wins that fight. But I slightly, just gun to my head right now, I slightly favour Bevo. But it's a great fight, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I think he's a better fighter than Canelo, put it that way. Have you heard about money laundering? LLC Showtime is going bust. Not sure if True Broner said it. Joke company that outs Ortiz versus Ruiz on pay-per-view and hasn't promoted a fight properly ever. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be money laundering involved if you're putting that fight on pay-per-view. I mean, Luis Ortiz and Ruiz on pay-per-view. Either of those guys against anybody who's not named Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, or Deontay Wilder isn't a pay-per-view worthy fight. I mean, come on, man. Worst division in boxing, in your opinion? To be honest, that's a question. It's a question I'd have to really think about. I've never really thought much of the modern super middleweight division. In the past few years or so, I think it's really weak. But again, it's one I'd have to really think about. What do you think of Lawrence Okolie? I think Lawrence Okolie's a fraud. I think he's shit. And like Andre Ward, if he ever had a fair referee, he probably wouldn't win a single fight in his entire career. I think he's rubbish. Just a cheating fraud as far as I'm concerned. Maybe he's got some skill, but I've never seen a fight of his where he didn't cheat. He just cheats non-stop, man. Just clinches and spoils. Don't know why a fighter like Shakur, Charlo, Andrade get the backing. And Prograis, he's better to watch, I think, more talented. Certain fighters just get chosen from a young age to, they're just the chosen ones, aren't they? And guys like Tank, they were groomed from the amateurs to be, the next big thing in boxing. That's what it is. Honestly, I think Jerry Cooney would whoop Fury. No, I don't think so. He definitely had legit power and could actually box, and he got dropped by Wilder 3 times and can't box for shit. I don't think Jerry Cooney would be big enough to beat Fury. I mean, look, he's a good boxer. He could probably compete with him, but I think Fury's too big, hits too hard, he's too slick. I think he'd take him apart and school him. Either a late stoppage or a wide decision. It would be competitive in spots, but I think Fury wins it. You're probably watching a Sven Orki fight as we speak. No, not right now, but I'm thinking about it, man. What one should I watch? Maybe the Johnson fight? I don't know. Because I am planning on making a Glenn Johnson video. Glenn Johnson's going to be one of my... It might actually be my next one, actually. It's going to be one of my retrospective videos. Going well, my brother Nordic. Good to be here. God bless you. Yeah, God bless you too, man. God bless. Yeah. Praise be to Jesus Christ, man. God bless. If Wilder wins tomorrow, I would love to see Usyk break his face off. Could you imagine Usyk just schooling Wilder? That'd be funny, man. It would be fun to watch. It'd be like the Spilker fight, except hopefully an actual real fight where Wilder doesn't take a dive, or Usyk doesn't take a dive and he wins clearly. I heard it's rough out there in the UK. Y'all's economy been pretty bad, mate. Our economy is in the gutter right now, mostly because of our government, spending our tax money on foreign wars. Our electricity bills, for example, are going up by 80%. Think about that, 80%, and then probably another 30% next year, and mostly because our tax money is being used to buy those bastards in Ukraine bombs, so that them Russians can blow each other up, Our government is making us complicit. We don't choose to be complicit, but our government is basically taking our money, stealing it from us, and sending it to fund foreign wars, arming both sides against each other. That's what happens, man. And they're acting like it's a good thing, like it's some kind of benevolent charity, us buying bombs for an authoritarian regime to blow each other up, It's ridiculous, man. It pisses me off when I think about it, but that's part of the reason that the economy over here is so bad. Our government is so willing to spend billions, millions of our taxpayer money on foreign wars, man. It never changes, does it? Is what it is. Push-ups are basically bench press with your body weight. Yeah. I just don't see the point in doing them now because, like I said, I just... Working out feels pointless to me at the minute because I pretty much get enough exercise doing my work, But I will work out when I'm less busy, I should do some push-ups tonight. I'm kind of amped up. I kind of want to do push-ups now. I should be doing them more often, If Fury wants a tune-up fight, why doesn't he just fight Pulev, who literally just beat Chisora but lost on a robbery? I said that on Precise's video. I said in the comment section, Pulev would be more suited to a fight against Fury since he deserves the shot more since he actually beat Chisora, beat him twice. So he's at least on Fury's level in that sense. He convincingly beat Chisora twice. He was robbed in the second fight, but in reality, he won it. He convincingly beat Chisora twice, so why not give him the shot? He's got a winning record at least. Why not? He beat Fury's cousin. There's a bit of history there. He beat Tony Thompson. He beat some good slick contenders. So Why not give him that fight, you know? Not saying he'd win, but he'd put up a decent fight. Yeah, well, there's autopsy, man. Oh, it's crazy. It's funny, though. Yep, R.I.P. Hagrid. Big Robbie Coltrane, yeah. I was saying earlier in the stream, he's famous round here. He's actually from my neck of the woods, just up the road from me. He's a Glasgow man. Yeah, he's popular here. So good man too. A lot of people liked him. Yeah, God bless him, man. God bless Hagrid. Big Robbie Coltrane, man. God bless him. Yeah, sad news, man. I kind of teared up a little. Shout out to PS1 Hagrid. Based PS1 Hagrid. Conor Benn's been confirmed as the new IVF champion of the world. That's funny, man. IVF champion of the world. Yeah, taking them flipping fertility drugs, isn't it? Oh, man. Sonny Liston hit harder than Tyson and Foreman, Chuck Wepner. I think he probably did. Just in terms of, like, obviously, they probably developed their technique a bit better, but I think just in terms of pure raw power, physical strength, like pure heavy-handed raw power, I think Liston probably hit harder. Used to knock people out with a jab, you know, so he probably did hit harder. Liston was afraid of needles, but died from a heroin overdose. Nothing to see here. Yeah, there's totally nothing suspicious about that. There's nothing suspicious about his wife coming back from a vacation, finding him lying on the bed with a needle in his arm, calling her lawyer before calling the doctor. You know, there's nothing, and with him having ties to the mob and being supposedly in debt to him and having a criminal rap sheet and having a very sad life story, having a lot of enemies. You know, there's nothing to see here. It was just another dead junkie, you know, nothing to see here. Yeah, there's totally no corruption involved there. There was definitely no skullduggery afoot. Yeah, they must think we're stupid, innit? Liston married his dad. Jesus. I hope that I read that completely out of context. I'm gonna have to look into that. Yup, the man killed Sonny because he was going to go to the public about alley fights being fixed. Not a chance. Died from a heroin overdose. Mafia written all over. Yeah, I mean that's one of the it's one of the most well-known cliches, isn't it? Famous person does something controversial or says something controversial, all of a sudden they die of a drug overdose. I mean, it's a cliche. We've seen it in movies. We've seen it happen in Hollywood, man. Is what it is, man. Is what it is. But I don't like it. What made me laugh a lot about your Andre Ward video was that I, a fairly hardcore fan, would say Ward was decent. Then when you look at the cheating, shit fights, and entitlement, it's like, whoa. Yeah, I'll tell you why that is. It's because when you watch these fights live and you listen to the commentary and you sort of get caught up in the hype and the media narratives and whatnot. But see, when you actually sit back, look at the career in retrospect and take a very close look at some of these fights, it's very revealing and it's shocking when you actually see it without any bias or without any pretense or propaganda. And you see it truly for what it is. You see the truth and you actually examine it analytically and look at the facts rather than looking at the narratives. It's very eye-opening, man. It really is. He was in 007 GoldenEye too. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was the villain, wasn't he? Do you know, I've never actually seen that film, but I've heard he was... was he the villain? I'm sure he was, wasn't he? And I've heard he was pretty badass. He was pretty good in it. And yeah, like someone mentioned earlier, your old Dar mentioned that he was in Cracker, which was a very popular like British detective show that a lot of people liked. And yeah, he was a good actor, man. He was well liked, very well liked and well respected around here. Very well liked. I'm leaving work early to watch Bevo Zerdo. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight, man. That's going to be interesting. I'm very interested in it. The odds are too insane for Zerdo to win. They know some things don't because Bevo is minus 600. Is that true? So Bevo's a big favourite then. I'm surprised by that. I would have thought the odds would have been a bit closer, but then again, he did beat the great Canelo Alvarez, didn't he? So maybe that's what it is. I think Ramirez can win, but Bevo, I favour Bevo slightly, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't win. But we'll see, man. Either way, it would not surprise me. Ruiz Ortiz was on Fox. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Okay, Okoli's trained by Barry Robinson. Is he no longer trained by Shane McGuigan? Did that relationship fall apart? I don't remember. I already told them I got this thing I got to take care of that afternoon. It's personal, and the fate of me closing Mexican fanboys for all eternity depends on it. Yeah, if that's not a reason to get a day off work or to get like a half day, I don't see what is, man. Here's what it is. Jai Pitaya would knock Okoli out. A great young prospect. That fight against Briedis was entertaining, broke his jaw and kept fighting. Yeah, he's a tough guy, isn't he, man? He might actually be the best fighter in Australia right now. You never know, man. Jamel Charlo's still a real champion. Fought one time since October 2020. WBC is a joke. Yeah, well, the WBC is what do you call it? The WBC are very selective about how they enforce the rules on fighters. I mean, it depends on who the fighter is. Remember when they let Adonis Stevenson go like 5 years without fighting a mandatory? And then when he eventually did fight one, he got knocked out. You know, is what it is. The whole Conor Benn situation goes to show all boxers cheat and just know what to get around UCAD tests. And Conor Benn has just messed it up. All your favorite fighters cheat. Look, I don't even consider PEDs cheating. All our favorite fighters take them. It just is what it is, man. It's you're always going to look for an advantage. You're always going to look for a step up on the competition. It's nature, you know. What business do countries have to do with Ukraine, really? Why should we go broke and suffer so we can fund Zelensky and their corrupt government so they can bomb people? Mate, I'm sick of talking about this because it pisses me off because we're literally like the situation I'm in right now. My bills are going to be sky high. Like we're trying to build a future for ourselves so we can start a family, and our government is literally stabbing us all in the back so that they can fund a foreign war. And, they're forcing this green agenda on us. They're taking away all our rights, locking up anybody who speaks out against the government. And, we're all paying for this problem that's going on in Eastern Europe, that sodomite Zelensky and his flipping regime can continue to, and Putin and his regime can continue to blow each other up, and so thousands of young white men can die, Here's what it is, man. Here's what it is. Nothing I can do about it except bitch and moan about it, Here's what it is. But I don't like it. Here's what it is. Oh, man, I would love Usyk Wilder. Bookies would be in turmoil with the amount of money being laid down on Wilder KO. Usyk would be even money, and I'd put my house, my dad's house, and your house down. Yeah, if that's a real fight, Wilder absolutely embarrasses, and Usyk absolutely embarrasses and schools Wilder. I've said so from day one, man. How do you rate my pound for pound? What is your pound for pound? Wilder has the build to have the skills of a Tommy Hearns. Unfortunately, he can't box a lick. Yeah, he's got them chicken legs, aren't he? They don't do him any good, do they? But I see what you mean. He's tall and slender like Tommy Hearns. But he doesn't have the skill or the brains, does he? Wilder's never been known for his brains. And Fury didn't do them any good, did he? Wilder versus Fury 4. Can't wait and see, yeah, imagine. I don't think that'll happen, but it would be funny if it did happen. Wilder has the build to box like Tommy Hearns, but it's just, he's awful. I agree. Hagrid would have sparked Fury, yeah. Yeah, Hagrid, he's a similar sort of size to Fury, but he's physically stronger, and he's also part giant, isn't he? So he's immune to certain magic spells, Magic doesn't affect him like it does you or I, so Fury wouldn't be able to put a gypsy curse on him, and Hagrid would probably just grab him and flipping rip his face off or something, man. Like, dude's dangerous. He was a dangerous man, Hagrid. Yeah, I got Hagrid by like a second round KO in that fight. Fury actually said he was open to a fourth fight the other day. Fury says a lot of shit, man. I take the things Fury says with a pinch of salt, R.I.P. Hagrid. I was never a Harry Potter guy, but I appreciate the fact that a lot of people loved that series of films who were a bit younger than me. R.I.P. Big Fella. Yeah, we all kind of grew up with it, I liked the books and that when I was a kid. I liked the films to some extent. I wasn't like a massive fan of them, but I did enjoy them. But I absolutely loved the video games. Like my most of my nostalgia for Harry Potter was from the games. Like, I love the video games, particularly some of the older ones. I reviewed them on my other channel. Like, they were amazing. I loved them, man. I loved them, man. I really did. Push-ups are yesterday. Just pop some clomiphene. Yeah, I don't even need to take. I don't even need to do any push-ups. I'll take some clomiphene, and then I'll have some like flipping. I'll have some of that meldonium, and then I'll look like Hagrid, man. All of a sudden, I'll be like 7'2", and I'll have like Nikolai Valowev's chin and all that. He was a side character. He was a side character in The World Is Not Enough To, another Bond film. Also, he wasn't the villain. He was a side character. Yeah, was it Sean Bean I'm thinking of was the villain? I think Sean Bean was the villain in one of them films, wasn't he? Like, I haven't seen those films, but I know that Hagrid and Sean Bean were in at least one of them. Hagrid and Boromir. I don't know if it was the same film they were in, but I know they were in films of that series, What do you make of Zerdo's entire career? It's been disappointing. Like, I rate Zerdo very highly. I think he's a world-class fighter, but he's just gone into obscurity and he hasn't done anything to promote himself, It's a shame, man. I'm praying Kambosos gets a lucky punch just to stop this Devin Haney fake career. I very much doubt it, but maybe it could happen, But I doubt that's his only chance. He has to go in there and knock him out. I think it's a bad fight for Bevo. Bigger southpaw. Can't remember Bevo fighting any. Yeah, I can't think of Bevo fighting any southpaws either. At least not any world-class southpaws. So it's a tough fight. Ramirez is tall. He's got long arms. He's got great stamina. He's got that kind of Joe Calzaghe work rate, but he's got better movement. And, he's very difficult to time. He's very difficult to fight, man. He's a good fighter, but he doesn't have the defense that Bevo has, and he doesn't have the overall like athleticism Bevo has. But it's a great fight, man. It really is. Well, I legit told them that Nordic, and the best part is at my job, it's literally 90% Mexican. So I'm constantly telling them how Canelo sucks and Pacquiao is their king. Yeah, Pacquiao, the Mexicutioner. Pacquiao stopped more Mexicans than Border Patrol. Tell them that. I'm hoping Josh Warrington gets sparked. It could happen. He's been sparked before, but personally, I think he's going to win. Most likely on points, but we'll see, man. Wouldn't even be surprised by a stoppage, but I think probably on points. I mean, my profile picture. I can't actually see your profile picture. Is there a way I can enlarge it? I don't know how to do that on here. But yeah, I can't actually see it. Kavalauskas would have knocked Conor Benn out cold. Oh, I agree. A prime Kavalauskas knocks him out. No doubt about it. Come to America. There's money to be made here. Downside, our culture and society is just full of degenerates. Yeah, we're not much better, man. I mean, look, Scotland is turning into a complete shithole, man. It really is. And, England isn't much better. And I don't know, man. Like, I need to get out of the UK. I need to save up a bit of money with my job at the moment, and one day I'd love to live in America. I'd love to live in Texas and walk around with like flipping some magnums and all that. That'd be awesome, man. I'll be living like Hawker Mustang, man. Driving my pickup truck with my Confederate flag and shooting my Magnum out the window, you know, going, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But I would enjoy it. I really would. I'm being half serious. I'd enjoy it. I really would. He's dumb as a box of rocks, is Wilder. Yeah, he absolutely is. He's a spastic. He really is stupid. I got Hagrid getting robbed on points. No, I don't think it goes to points. I don't think it goes to points at all. Hagrid would absolutely beat the piss out of him, and he'd smash him in a couple of rounds, man. He'd beat the piss out of him, in my opinion. You know, Hagrid. People don't understand how hard Hagrid is, man. He was able to tame a giant 3-headed dog. He had a dragon as a pet. He goes into the dark forest, inappropriately taking children with him, but I digress. And he goes in there and he breeds like messed up creatures like giant spiders, flipping hippogriffs, giant blast-ended scroots. And he's always at home kind of around monsters, around dangerous creatures. You know, he's handled much bigger and badder adversaries and dangers than Tyson Fury, man. He knocks him out in 2 rounds, I think. Yeah, 4th fight, man. It'll be ridiculous, wouldn't it? It's funny though. Shout out to Rolf Stonefist. Good to see you here, bro. God bless. Love to buy that dude a mead, man. In the Candlehearth Hall. Go and catch a fight at the Windhelm Pit, into it. That would be fun. Go and patrol the Grey Quarter and shout at them Grey Squins, innit? I'm really hoping we get to see Wilder versus Stavern 3, yeah. Wilder versus Stavern 3 and Chisora versus Fury 3. Those are the what do you call it? Those are the fights that we need. Those are the trilogies we deserve, man. We could see them. It'll be fun. I'd enjoy it. Which, yeah, Sean Bean was the main villain in GoldenEye. That's it. He was the main villain. Was he in the video game GoldenEye too? I think he might have been. His character might have been anyway. Respect from Albania. Good to see you here, man. God bless. That's crazy that I've got people from Albania and the States and all sorts of places watching my channel, man. It's quite cool, it is. Rolf versus... Where was I? Rolf versus Dragonborn 2 will be the fight of the century, yeah. Yeah, the Dragon Ball, like, the Dragonborn got the better of him first time, but, you know, if you were to give Rolf a chance to win his money back, that would be fun. It'd be an epic rematch in Windhelm, you know. Bean was great in Inspector Morse. Didn't know he was in Bond. Yeah, apparently he was the villain in GoldenEye. Yeah, great actor. Did great as Boromir in Lord of the Rings. Also, he did. Canelo won't even fight Mexicans and give them a payday. Yeah, well, I guess he gave Chavez Jr. a payday. Not that he needed a payday, you know. Apparently, Zoda rehydrated to 204 for his last. Really? That's quite dramatic, actually. If that's the case, you know. I live in Texas, great state, man. I would love to go to Texas. I'd love to go to Texas, get myself a big ass steak, get myself a cowboy hat, and a big like revolver, and just man, I would love to live in Texas, man. I'd be strapped everywhere I go. If I lived in Texas, I'd be at home, man. The only thing I'd miss is the cold and the iron brew, because I don't think you guys have iron brew over there, and it's quite warm too, you know. Whereas I live in a cold country, and I love the cold, and it really suits me. And the iron brew is my vice, you know. I'd kind of miss those two things, you know. but they all worship Canelo. Oh, they all worship Canelo in Texas. Well, maybe I'll put that revolver to good use. You know, I'm kidding. If you end up in Texas, I'm going Texas. I've never been there either. Yeah, absolutely, Johnny. We should go to Texas and, you know, we can hit up a bar there or whatever and have a steak. Why not, eh? Jake Paul has more skill than Campbell Hatton. Yeah, he probably does, actually. Do you know what? I'm actually, as shit as Jake Paul is, as rubbish as Jake Paul is, I'm actually certain he does have more skill than Campbell Hatton. I'm certain he does. Who doesn't, you know? Hagrid gets knockout power. Hagrid's got knockout power in both hands, yeah. Yeah, Hagrid's heavy-handed, man. He was able to tame a hippogriff. If he can do that, he knocks Tyson Fury out in 2 rounds, man. That was FO for the dating site ad. Oh, yeah, there was, some troll dated, some scammer, I don't know. You should see the Harry Potter pitch meetings. Oh, yeah, the pitch meeting YouTube channel. I think I've been, like, recommended those, but I don't think I've actually watched them. I might do one day. Hagrid, with one move, could remove the racist hate from Cassius Clay's heart. Yeah. Oh, man. Marvelous creatures, dragons, ain't they? Dirty blood. Do you know what I loved? Do you know what I loved about Hagrid? Like, if you guys have ever played the Harry Potter game on the PS1, the first one, where Hagrid basically takes you out of school, because you play as Harry, obviously, the kid. He's like 11 years old or something. And Hagrid takes you out of the school and he takes you to the sort of wizard like shopping market and he tells you to go and get some of his stuff, like his ingredients. And he says to you, I'm away to the pub for a few beers. You can find me there if you need me. So like basically Hagrid takes him out of school, takes him to the alley, the shopping place, and leaves him there to get all his stuff and do all his work while he goes to get pissed. It's flipping funny, man. It's like the developers of those games were like highlighting like how negligent and how flipping hilarious Hagrid was, but taking it to a new level. I always found that funny, man. It's like so audacious and funny, man. I reckon a full training camp I can beat Harley Ben. Yeah, I mean, who couldn't? Campbell Hatton, probably. Wilder versus Andy Ruiz. I think Wilder could knock Andy Ruiz out, but at the same time, I could also see Andy Ruiz sort of getting inside, smothering Wilder, you know, rubbing his big fat Mexican titties in Wilder's face and wearing him down and Wilder just breaking under the pressure and getting stopped. I could see that happening too, you know. So Wilder early, Ruiz late. Cassius Clay was an early incarnation of Wilder from a race baiting viewpoint. Yeah, he was. I mean, the dude had a white trainer and white manager and whatnot, but he was going around calling white man the devil and pushing all this black power shit, you know. Very similar to Wilder. Kamil Sokolovsky will probably beat Clerk and get robbed by the British judges. Don't like foreign boxers. Yeah, Kamil Sokolovsky's a tough journeyman, man. Always comes to try and win, you know. And yeah, British judges, we know the script right now, don't we? We know what it's all about. Ulfric would shout Fury to pieces, yeah. Ulfric would Fus Roda, and Fury would cease to exist. That's what would happen. Or he would just Fus. He would just knock him to the ground and then drive his sword through Fury's heart. I shouted him to the ground, but it was my sword piercing his heart that killed him. He's got some voice, Annie, Ulfric Stormcloak, man. I'm fighting for the men I've held in my arms. What is it he says? I can't remember. Something funny like that. They will fill our hearts and strengthen our blades. Sean Bean was terrific in Game of Thrones too. Prior to Game of Thrones becoming a show about feminism and woman empowerment. Yeah. Yeah. I never watched Game of Thrones, but I heard it was filmed with just like Marxist filth and all that rubbish, you know. I have a feeling Gambosis beats Haney on a split decision. Never going to happen, mate. They're not going to give Kambosos a close decision. It's Haney's promoter who's running the place, you know. Definitely move to Texas. I need more red pill friends. Yeah, absolutely. We should all move to Texas and like start a business there, you know. A big like YTBC cookout or something, kind of like the LDBC did, but less gay and less black supremacist, you know. Ulfric stops Fury inside 2 rounds. Yeah, it wouldn't even need to go a single round. Like I said, he would just Fushruda Fury and he would cease to exist, or he'd knock him to the ground and drive his sword through his heart, you know. And then we shall see Skyrim as she was meant to be, full of Nords who are strong, mighty, powerful, and free, for the sons and daughters of Skyrim. That's what it is, isn't it? Josh Taylor will ice Jack Catterall in a rematch. Watch. I hope so, man. I hope so. But we'll see, won't we? Not too long ago, open carry wasn't allowed. Texas in itself hasn't really been a big 2A Second Amendment state. That has changed. I'm still surprised myself, yeah. Hopefully open carry is endorsed everywhere. What you guys need to do is just everywhere you go, just carry your guns. And whenever a police officer tries to take it off you, just tell them, listen, you touch my gun and I'll slam you on your face. It's that simple. All right, Second Amendment. It's my constitutional right. Sadly, over here in the UK, we allowed the fake school shootings to tug at our heartstrings. Well, not us, but our grandparents, you know. We allowed these fake propaganda school shootings to tug at our heartstrings and convince us to give them up, you know. Ruiz by fat Mexican tits and Snickers bars, yeah. Yeah, tacos and burritos, essay. Ali lived in a different era. It was definitely more racist back then. It was more racist from all aspects of society, you know, not just from whites, though. Do you know Uddingston? I'm hearing Jarl Ulfric banished the Greyskins to there. I do know Uddingston. Yeah, I used to work up that way, actually. It's up near Motherwell, isn't it? Near Bells Hill, Motherwell, up that end. Yeah, I used to work up that way when I used to work as a landscaper. Prime Vitaly Klitschko knocks out Tyson Fury in 6, and Usyk will beat Fury. I can't stand Fury fanboys as much as I like him. Yeah, I agree, man. I think Prime Vitaly knocks Fury out, and Usyk could beat Fury, but he would need a fair referee, you know. Otherwise, Fury just leans on him and spores his way to a win. I'd root for Usyk, though, because he is the better fighter and he's more honourable, you know. I enjoyed Game of Thrones. I like House of the Dragon right now. I never watched it. Just didn't really have time for it, you know. The first few years of Game of Thrones were outstanding. Around 2015, the SJW came, the show changed, became about women overcoming men, which will never happen in reality. Yeah, of course not. Women belong in the kitchen or on their back. They certainly don't belong in war. They certainly don't belong in the workforce or anywhere that we belong, you know, in that sense. Ulfric versus Harkon. Who wins? Harkon. He's far too powerful. I mean, I'd root for Ulfric, but Harkon is he's a vampire lord. You know, he would just turn into his vampire lord form, and he would what do you call it? He would just drain him, and he would either infect him, or what do you call it? He would do his drain life spell, and Ulfric wouldn't really have a chance. Ulfric would need to really shout to the best of his ability and try and finish him off quickly, but Harkon just too powerful. I mean, the Dragonborn can beat Harkon, but I don't think Ulfric would be able to. Like, Harkon and Mirak were just a step too high, you know. My family comes from Uddingston. Really? I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah. Yes, it's an alright area, Uddingston. I mean, I don't know the area too well, but I have been there a bunch of times because, like I said, it was part of my job for a while when I was a landscaper. So yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know you were from Uddingston, or your family are from there. I didn't know that, man. That's cool. Floyd Mayweather and John Jones both use their wives as sparring partners. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But they're both role models, aren't they, for the youth in America? Says a lot, doesn't it? Says a lot about society. Belong in the kitchen on their back. You sound like 2015 Tyson Fury. Where do you think I got that? Eh? That was the old bass Tyson Fury that I liked. I miss old bass Tyson Fury. I really do, man. I miss it. I miss him a lot. I'd root for Usyk versus Fury if he told all the refugees to go back to the homeland immediately. Yeah, he should. He should tell them all to bugger off back where they came from. Not our problem. It's not our war, not our fight. Got our own problems. We've got our own culture war to fight over here. People may say Marku is shit at the moment, but people forgetting he's only been boxing for 3 years. Give him time. Yeah, he's doing all right for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience. I'll never buy a woman a watch because there is a clock on the stove. Exactly. And women shouldn't be allowed to drive. There's no need because you don't need a car to get around the kitchen. So why would they ever need to drive? It's completely pointless. I mean, it's only logical. Oh, that was nice. That was nice, I must admit. Oh, I'm getting tired, man. You can tell I'm tired, can't you? Because I just don't give a crap in this stream. Just going all out. But anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night. It's been fun, but yeah, I'm getting tired. So thanks for everybody who stopped by. And what was that? My foot's like flipping, rubbing across the floor. 1 second. Trying to get comfortable. Where was I? So we'll get a few more minutes. Why do women wear white on their wedding day? Because all household appliances are white. Yeah. Oh man. Are you related to Andrew Tate? Nope, certainly not. Yeah, man. Peace out and God bless. Yeah, I guess I'll call it a night, guys. So yeah, thanks to everybody who stopped by. And yeah, man, it was good to see you all here. Thanks for watching and God bless.